After a very chaotic A-Division event of block bumping, we are back for the third event of the B-Division. We're back at the same course, it's block bumping, and once again Angus from Tour de Endurance will be joining me in commentary here today. Welcome.
Hello again. Thank you, Raman, for having me here for a second time in the block bumping, and this time we've got the B-Division to line it up. The Treat Fleet will open the event, and the Nickel Knights will close it, but in the A-League we saw Red Lotus, Green Lotus, and the Venomous Vipers make up the podium. The podium here, though, is going to be completely unpredictable. None of these teams have ever done an event like this before, besides, of course, block pushing, but block bumping is very different. There you see the standings coming into this event.
Mountain climbers with 2 medals are comfortably sitting at the top of the standings, and it's very close between Team Nectar, Blue Lotus, and the Pumpkin Patch. Meanwhile, Rock Pools, Heliospheres, Nickel Knights, and the Deserters sitting in the relegation zone at the bottom. The Treat Fleet will start us off with their Captain Caramel leading the way. They've had a mid-pack results in the first 2 events. We'll see what they can do. It's a very good hit from the Captain Caramel. What can the other 3 do?
Here they come. Second one comes down well ahead of his teammates. It's still a solid push. The third one doesn't get much going due to impacts in his teammates, and then the fourth one comes down now, and it's a nice and solid hit to close out what looked like a pretty solid opening run for the Treat Fleet. It was close towards 50, maybe even close to 60. I can't really tell, but still pretty solid opener. It was better than the Slime Balls opening run from the A-League, but where will it stack up at the end of the event with still 15 runs to go?
It has crossed 50, and that's going to be a pretty good mark based on what we saw in the A-Division. So Treat Fleet have got to be pretty happy with that. Their strength is team events, so this should be expected of them. 53.5, that is a good benchmark for the rest of the teams to stack up to. Next run will be the Pumpkin Patch. Squash as the new captain in this season, leading the way. The Pumpkin Patch just got a silver at the hands of their captain in the last B-Division event in the Quadrilla race. What can they do in this team event? 1 marble will come down now. It's a very good run.
Ooh, that's a great opening push for the Pumpkin Patch. Can they make it 2 medals in a row, perhaps, with that first one looking good? The second one completely misses the mark, and holy moly! I have no words for that. That was unbelievable by the third and fourth pushes.
Great strategy from the third and the fourth marble coming down together in a pack. The other marbles making sure to get out of the way. I think you can see one of the marbles getting pushed aside to make way for their final marble to go under them and push that block as far as possible. That's going to be a great run. Here you can see again this marble pushing the marble to jump over them so the anchor can have a clear path to push them past 60, 61.1. It's not quite a new record, but it is good enough to take the lead in the second run of the day.
Both of us left bumbling for words after that performance. Pumpkin Patch, absolutely fantastic. Deserters, probably afraid to follow that up, but we'll see what they can do. They're only 1 point in 2 events so far. They need a good result desperately. What can they do here? The first push is okay. The other ones are taking their time, calculating to get down. Here comes the second one shortly. It's 2 and 3, and oh, it's an invalid push. Honestly, wise by the Deserters. The first 3 pushes did not look like much, so they'll be happy for a redo, I reckon.
First, you get 3 pushes, so the Deserters aren't too bad with invalid push. They'll be happy to get a redo. We'll see what can be. Great push for the first one. Are they making good use of this second run? We'll have to see what the second and third ones do. Oh, it's going to be out of the block again. Out of the track again. What can the anchor do? Can they salvage anything?
Oh, here it comes. It's completely out of the block. It is absolutely demolished from the track. That is 2 invalid pushes. If the Deserters do that again, it's disqualification and likely an automatic dead last. No one in the A-League did it even twice, I don't think. There's only 1 invalid push for those who got one. So Deserters shaking now. They want to just try and get a mark on the board. But again, a good solid first push. What can the others do?
Oh, the third one has pushed it out of the block. This last one needs to get it back on the track, but it's looking not likely, and it's gonna be out of the track. And the Deserters, oh my word, dead last with just 1 point coming to this event, and they are likely gonna get no points from this event again. Disqualification for them, and the Deserters, I'm just lost for words.
I am as well. That is incredibly rough for the Deserters. There's still 5 events to try and bring it back, but they are not looking good whatsoever. They got to just reshape themselves up as the Icicles now in run 4 at the quarter point of this event. First push is a solid one. We see any invalid runs here. The second one taking his time on that spiral. Then he comes now 2 and 3. Push that block in a very good ticket-tacker run. Here comes the fourth one to try and push it beyond that yellow marker, and cannot, but that is still a solid run from the Icicles.
I think that will be good enough for second place. Great first push, and the second and third ones, for many of the previous runs we've seen in both the B-Division and the A-Division, we've seen the second and third ones really get out of sorts, but the Icicles, I think, did that well. Unfortunately, the Anchor didn't have that much to work with, but they are still going to get it close to 60, 57.2. That's good enough for a comfortable second place after run number 4. Icicles are going to be pretty happy with a run like that. So far, Pumpkin Patch leads the way, but the Icicles and the Treat Flute have had pretty good runs. The top 3 so far have been pretty good. The Hazelnuts now, in the 5th run, will start us off in the second half, in the second part of the event.
Into the second quarter of the event. Hazelnuts, of course. The Icicles just got a nice 50. The 60 mark was the mark that pretty much made up the podium in the A-League. Will that be the point again for the Pumpkin Patch? Second one completely misses the mark for the Hazelnuts, but the third one tries to recover it. Fourth one is left pretty much all on his own, and the Hazelnuts there, that was a complete shambles after the first bump. The second one just did not go anywhere whatsoever. There he is, rocketing off the track and putting all of his momentum to the side rather than forward into the block. Not what you want to do at all.
Yeah, they had the strength, I think, but they just did not have the control, and they couldn't get all their energy directed towards the block. And the Hazelnuts, they are going to just barely eclipse 50, I think. If you can see it with the mark with the last marble, but they could have done a lot more. I think they would be thinking what could have been 4th place just out of 5 runs. 50.2, that's a decent mark. Horsing 50 is not too bad, but the runs set so far have been pretty good.
Now the Blue Lotus, they saw 2 of their rival Lotus teams in the top 2 in the A-League for this. What can they respond down in the B-Division? The current mark is a very good 60. We'll have to see what they can do. After winning gold in the last event, a nice solid opener for this blue team. What can this 2 and 3 come down now? And it's a bit of a messy run for 2 and 3. The Anchor trying to push it as far as he can, but I don't think it'll reach the yellow mark, and it almost made me eat my words there, but it is not enough. Blue Lotus should comfortably be provisionally on the podium, but it will not be enough for first place.
Yeah, the Blue Lotus had some very strong pushes. That Anchor was huge, but it's just barely not enough. They needed their middle 2 marbles to do a bit more to challenge the Pumpkin Patch for the lead. But still, the Blue Lotus, this is going to be a pretty good mark. And after winning gold in the previous event in the Quadrilla race, they're going to be pretty happy with a run like this. Getting back on their feet after a very disappointing B-Division last season. 3rd place, 56 flat for the Blue Lotus. Will that stay on the podium? We'll have to see. With 10 runs left, I'm not sure if it will.
Now the Efficient Eggs lined up here. They're spraying themselves out. There's no they're coming down the track now. Efficient Eggs. They had a solid run so far in the B Division. First push looks solid, and the second one is still making his way to Icon. I didn't even see him. The second run has pushed it. Here comes the third one now. Completely misses the mark and the Anchor. Fourth run, it has to push really far to get anything out of this one, and it's not going to be much for the Efficient Eggs. My apologies. I was left a bit speechless there.
Yeah, I think the first 2 marbles came pretty quickly, actually. That's not something we see that often. That was the Anchor getting a pretty good distance. But aside from that, the Efficient Eggs left a bit to be desired. I don't think this is going to challenge for a podium for them. I think they needed to spread their runs out a bit more, especially between run number 1 and run number 2. You can see a great Anchor there, but they were left with a lot of work to do to challenge the top contenders. 5th place out of just 7 for the Efficient Eggs. It's not the best run from them. Now the Heliospheres to round out the first half with our captain Helios.
61 is still the leading mark, and Heliospheres at the end of the first half cracked that mark. It'll be a great morale boost heading into the second half of the event for the Heliospheres. First push is a solid one. Now as the other ones start to make their way down, usually all around the same time. Second one, a not great strike, and the third one is left to pretty much get a clear block as the teammates move to the side. Fourth strike now, and it goes, oh dear, absolutely nowhere. Heliospheres, it looked to be a consistent run in the first 3 pushes, but the fourth one was just completely nowhere. That was disastrous at the end for the Heliospheres, and it's not going to challenge for anything, to be honest.
Yeah, I think the marbles could have used getting out of the way a lot more as a strategy, because the Anchor had so many marbles in their way and couldn't get any energy directed into that block. And after first 3 runs, which were pretty consistent, pretty clean, the Anchor is only going to get them by just barely under 42, 41.8, and that's 7th out of 8. That's the worst run we've seen that isn't deserters who got disqualified. But after the first half, Pumpkin Patch still holding out strong at the top with 61.1. Icicles and Blue Lotus still rounding out the podium. The Celestials will kick off the second half of the event right now.
They've subbed in the reserve Blazer for this one in the team event as an interesting tactic by the Celestials. The 60 mark is looking again to be that podium cutoff as Pumpkin Patch still hold the lead. A solid first push for the Celestials. Here come the other ones now. Second one just entering out of the spiral, and it's again a solid hit. Third one completely misses the mark, jumps out of the track and misses the block entirely. In the anchor, his teammates were against the block, so it is a solid transversion of energy to the block. But despite that, Celestials are going to be kicking themselves. If that third one had gone far, they could have challenged for a podium.
We saw that happen with the Poison Ivy in the A-Division. The same thing has happened with the Celestials with the third marble just going off, and despite good runs from all the other marbles, they're going to be thinking what could have been, because that's a pretty good distance for just a run with 3 marbles, 46.5. You have to think with a 4th marble pushing that block, they could have challenged for a podium, but it's not to be for the Celestials. Now, Team Nectar in run number 10, they've had a pretty good start to this B-Division, dare I say their best start out of any season. How can they follow up with it in this block bumping event? Taking their time.
Has been indeed been looking up for Team Nectar lately, and they are taking their time down this field. The first one finally comes down now and puts it real fun. In fact, they're pushing it all as a group here, using their block pushing skills perhaps in the bumping event, and it goes well far ahead. They all came down in a swarm there, did Team Nectar. That's a strategy that we have not ever seen in this edition of block bumping, but it worked very well. Up there towards 60 and perhaps contending definitely for top 5, I'd say.
That first push was very good. I think the other pushes didn't have the raw strength, but they used the strategy very well. No marble really missed the mark, and so Team Nectar is going to have a very consistent effort to get them to 54.2. That's good enough, just barely off the podium, behind the Blue Lotus for 4th place. But still, Team Nectar is going to be very pleased with a run like that. Now the Bacon Brawlers in the 11th run are champions of the B-Division last season, haven't had a great start to this one, but we'll see what they can do in block bumping.
Of course, they have B-League prowess. The first two have already come down very fast to the Bacon Brawlers here. What can the third one say? It goes all the way out of the track, and now they have to try and save it with the anchor here, slowly making his way down the spiral. If he can save this, could be a fantastic push, and he's completely unable to save it. That is an invalid run. Bacon Brawlers will be restacked for a second run.
Alright, the Bacon Brothers, they need to avoid what the Deserters did, and they need, preferably here, to get a good distance to avoid sweating bullets with the final run. First push, very good from the first marble. What can the other 3 do? They're taking their time a bit to get to the block. Oh, the second one's going to really miss the mark, colliding with their teammate, and now the final 2 need to get something going here.
They come down together, and it's a very good combo there for the 3rd and 4th Bacon Brawl marbles. They pretty much pushed each other into the block. That was great energy movement for the Bacon Brawlers there. It did really save the run. But if that second marble had actually managed to hit the block instead of just smacking into his teammate, this could have contended for a podium. You need to be more controlled after hitting the block, otherwise you're just going to send yourselves in wild directions, as we've seen here, and with runs like the Celestials. 5th place for the Bacon Brawlers, but what could have been again.
Still though, making pretty good use of the second run for the Bacon Brawlers. Now the Bauble Squad, a team that is usually in the A-Division, now in the B-Division for the first time. We'll see what they can do. They haven't had a great start, and they're going to need to get some medals soon. First push, amazing from the first marble. That's probably the best first push we've seen. What can the other marbles do? Can they follow up with a good push?
Oh, the second one definitely did, but the third one left a lot to be desired. The anchor down coming now, and it's absolute. They just all fell apart. The first and second pushes were fantastic from the Bauble Squad, but then they were, again, lack of control in the lane. The third one, third and fourth ones, I think, both smack off of their teammates and fly out of the lane and putting no energy into the block. So that was pretty much just a 2-marble job there for the Bauble Squad, and it still wasn't too bad for a 2-marble job.
Yeah, after the first half of that run, we were thinking this would be a challenge for the podium, maybe the win, but the final 2 runs left much to be desired. Only 43.1, only barely in the top 10 out of 12 runs. The Bauble Squad, after what was looking great at the beginning, is only going to be towards the bottom. Pumpkin Patch, though, still, in the very second run of the day, their mark is still good enough to lead the way ahead of the Icicles and the Blue Lotus and Team Nectar in 4th place. Now the Rock Pools, in run 13, they are sitting in that relegation zone just barely, so they're going to want a good run here. They got the win in block pushing last season, the B-Division. Will that translate here?
It's an okay opening push, but it's all about these later ones and keeping control afterwards. Second one completely misses the mark. The third marble gets it up and moving again, but Rockwell's are at least going to get on the board here with the anchor coming down now to knock the block as far as he can, and again, we've seen this so many times. The second marble leaves a lot to be desired, and the rock pools are going to be low down in the order on this one, I'd say. The second one, let's have a look at the replay for that second push. The first one was solid. The second one comes down. I think he just hits his teammate and is sent flying far to the left.
Yeah, this run is only going to be low 40s for the rock pools. So 41.9, that's 11th place. That is third to last, just barely ahead of, I think, the Heliospheres and the Deserters. So the rock pools sitting down towards the bottom of the standings, they are not going to get a good run here. Now, Amber Animals in the third to last push. Amber Animals got 4th place in the last event. It's been decent for them. Can they do well here?
It's a good opening first push for the first Amber Animals. Now the other one's taking their time to get down here. Here they come now. Second one hits hard enough, does come out of the track, and the third one is a great solid push. Fourth one now, the anchor. What can they do? It's been pretty good so far for Amber Animals, and it's going to be actually knocked the marker there, but the anchor looked set up to be a very good anchor, but anchor just could not work with it super well. But it's still an okay run for the Amber Animals. Let's take a look at this anchor. Just chaos. They were all up against the block. It could have been fantastic, but just wasn't to be.
Yeah, after the last few runs have struggled a bit, but the Amber Animals are going to cross 50. That third marble especially, making sure to avoid their teammate. That was great from the third marble, but the anchor, ooh, you could see how close the block was only after 3 runs, but it's only going to get to 7th place, 51.4. Still though, that is just barely in the top half for the Amber Animals, and they could be pretty happy with that. Now the Mountain Climbers, at the penultimate run, the Mountain Climbers, 2 medals to start the season. They've done fantastically so far. Can they follow up with a good result in the block bumping?
Can they make it a third? It's a great first push, but it is out of the lane. It's out of the lane by just a little bit. This can be saved by the other teammates. Here they come down now. They've saved it. They pushed it back into the lane. 2 and 3 are nice and strong, but they're so far away from the block. The fifth anchor left to swerve around his teammates, and he completely jumps out of the lane and misses the block entirely. Mountain Climbers, again, a great setup for a fantastic run, but just the anchor ends up... I can't believe Marbles can pull that off. That's astounding.
The anchor, that is going to be so disappointing. The Mountain Climbers could have been on track for a 3rd medal in a row, but that anchor just completely misses it. Not a single nudge to that block. That is pretty close to the marker. So not even going to be 50 for them. 46.6 and just 10th place for the Mountain Climbers with just 1 run to go. The Nickel Knights sitting down in 15th in the standings. They need to get something going here.
Relegated last season and looking so far to get relegated again. They need to start bringing back soon or else they're going to be in deep trouble. Nickel Knights, final run of the day. The mark to beat, 61.1. It's been the mark to beat pretty much the whole day. Nickel Knights' opening strike is solid. The other one's now taking their sweet time to push this block as far as they can. Second one misses entirely. Third one, here's a solid push. What can the anchor do to say anything to the top teams? And it's really not much at all. Nickel Knights, another poor result in the block in the strength events, and that is going to be it. The Pumpkin Patch will win the event after pretty much taking the lead in run 2, and they never even looked back. That was a wonderful win for the Pumpkin Patch.
The Nickel Knights here, I don't know if they're going to crack 40 yet. All this is going to be towards the bottom. Definitely better than Deserters, who are under them in the standings, so there's consolation for that, but nothing else. 15th place for the Nickel Knights, and that means the Pumpkin Patch will get their first gold ever in the Team Quadrilla Marble League, and they will get 25 points towards the top of the standings ahead of the Icicles and the Blue Lotus, who have been on the top of who have been at the podium for pretty much the entire event. Congrats to them. And with that gold medal, the Pumpkin Patch take the lead in the B-Division ahead of the Mountain Climbers and the Blue Lotus. Icicles rise to 4th with the silver, and the top 4 sitting very pretty, all with 2 medals already. Rockpool's, Heliospheres, Nickel Knights, and the Deserters still in the bottom 4, but still 5 events left to make a comeback. The next event will be Gauntlet Run Event 7 of the A-Division, and then Funnel Jumping, a brand new event for both divisions.